Welcome to Friendlyfire. We are Chica Chats. I'm Ken.
I'm Ro.
And we are in the hot seat.
Welcome in, Jigglefam. How's everybody doing? I hope y'all are doing well. Y'all already know what it is. It's episode 4 of season 2 of Friendlyfire. And today we have a little bit of a different setup, as you can see, and some very, very special guests here. I'm super excited about this episode, let me tell you. We got Chica Chats with us. What's up, y'all? Exactly.
We need the horns, we need everything. Simon.
We got Ken and Ro. Thank y'all for being here, by the way.
Yes.
Super duper excited. And as y'all know, I like to start out every episode with 2 main things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First one is a little bit of a wellness check-in. I think we always need to check in, mental, emotional, fit. You know what I'm saying? Make sure we're feeling good. Make sure we're feeling good. So how are y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm great, actually.
Better now.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah. The feelings are up.
Yeah.
The vibes are good.
Yeah.
Good.
We're bringing us up. The conversation is getting. It's gonna be good. We have a good feeling about this.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. We got a whole lot to talk about. And before we do that, the other thing that I like to do is just your elevator pitch, right? So I like to get it out of the way, let people know where they can find you, and kind of like who y'all are, like your little sales pitch, you know what I mean? If you want, you can give the personal accounts, you can get it obviously the Chica Chats, but yeah, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
Cool. So we are Chica Chats. You can find us on all major streaming platforms. We're basically 2 chicas handling tripping conversations, sex, politics, culture, and everything between. You can find Ken on Instagram under
Ken.Soli.
and you can find me at @panamudgies_ and at chica.chats. You can find all of our little links.
Perfect, there you go. And y'all know, as I say every single episode, links are down below. Y'all don't got an excuse. Go follow them. I promise y'all it's gonna be worth it. The content is amazing. I love the conversations that y'all bring to the table, and you know the lens that you look through. I think it's super dope. So go follow or don't come back here. All right, get out of here.
That was a threat. That was a small threat.
Yeah, exactly. Rightfully so. So, you know, focusing in on the conversation. Obviously, a lot to talk about, right? A lot to think about, and I think the first thing for me, right, is kind of like, how does Chica Chats come about, right? And what I mean by that is like, every time we've done guests to this point, it's been one guest, right? This is both of you, right? This is Ro and Ken. That's Chica Chats. Like, it's not one without the other. It's a package deal, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I think like, what I want to know is, how did you 2 meet, right? And then how did you sort of get into this conversation of like, we have similar interests, right? We're interested in the latinx, right? Got kind of lens, or the LGBTQ plus, right? Kind of like bringing those topics to the forefront, and also having a passion for podcasting. Like, how does that come about?
That is very interesting.
Oh,
I never noticed how many of our sectors had to get together for this to work.
we had dinner one night, and the chemistry was insane. That we were like, oh, this feels really special. And then we had a really great supportive internship that was like, okay, like if y'all feel it, y'all do it.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't feel right. The weird for me personally, it didn't feel right whenever I was doing like little things behind their mic. But when we got behind our mic, the 2 of us, it felt good.
Right. Okay.
I felt like there was something there. And we were a trio first.
Oh, really?
So we had Alex with us, who was also interning. So when we got together and we had to like bring some for them, we ended up talking a bunch of stuff that we were interested in, which had a lot to do with what we talk about now. Like, you know, feminism, toxic masculinity, all of those stuff. Yeah. Also, we were like, these are important conversations we should be having. Yes. And I feel like a lot of people have those conversations, but like behind doors.
Right.
So that's how we keep being, basically.
Yeah, and thankfully 3 years later, we have an audience that's now having those conversations that we thought were private in their homes. And like everything that we thought about, that we're like, oh, well, people like this, is this conversation important? We've actually gotten it back. So like for whoever thinks that like your voice is not important, or like what I have to say, how someone won't relate to it, we're like literal proof that like we're 2 brown women from a city and different experiences, different age points, and we share experiences, and every single time we do share we get the sharing back. So it's very much of the community liking us, but also us being able to speak about also things in a more detailed way, uncensored way.
Yeah.
I feel like when we were younger, the generation before us weren't having these conversations, right? Or they were being had in silos, right? Behind closed doors, like you mentioned. I think like the generation that I grew up in, I feel like is the awareness generation, right? Okay, we're starting to be aware of toxic masculinity, of social norms, of the social pillars, right, that are sort of established, right, through capitalism, through whatever, colonization, right, all these kind of all these things that are going on, right, that are sort of deep rooted. And I think right now, with like Gen Z, this generation kind of coming up, I feel like it's the generation of change, right? So now we're actually actioning on these conversations. And that's why like something like Chica Chats, right? Like a platform that brings these conversations to your home. So like, you're actually on a massive scale, right? It just amazes me because it's like so far that we've come, so far that we have to go still. But like y'all two are really making a difference to me in that sense, right? It's like awareness and an actioning on that, So like, I really appreciate it. I love it.
It started off with dinner. We didn't think at all. We literally were just talking shit. Our first episode was about periods.
Right.
We were talking about our periods.
Let's just talk shit. Let's just say what we have to say. And like you said, like it is, I feel like we're the transitioning generation. And it felt so isolating thinking those things and having these thoughts and these conversations. But then figuring out that, we're all having them. We're all feeling them. We're all, trying to better ourselves and our families and everything else.
Yeah. And ironically, the period episode was the most male listened episode that we had.
We had guys being like, oh, I didn't know y'all go through that. I didn't know all this. And I was like, because we don't talk about it.
Exactly. Nah, y'all talk about everything. Y'all get all over the place and I love it. I love it.
Maybe sometimes a little too much.
Oh, man.
But yeah.
So actually, like, it's funny because how do y'all, right? Like I mentioned, package deal, right? So it's two. How do you, like when I'm streaming, it's only me, right? Friendlyfire, right? I'm the one asking the questions. So I don't gotta worry about another voice or another person in the room, right? So like with y'all, how did that come about, right? Like how did Ken find her voice and Ro find her voice in combination with each other? Like, is that something natural? Is that something rehearsed? And were there growing pains, like when you look back on it?
You know what? I love our friendship because I think since we met each other, we mutually respect each other. So that need that other people have, or you'll see in other duos or trios of four people, where they're talking over each other. After the first few episodes, we were considerate that of each other organically. Because we were like, how can we make it better? But it was never about egos. It was never about who could say more in an episode, who's gonna say this and that. It was more about, even when we create the episodes, they're so beautiful because they'll start off with a conversation and they'll become segments. But like, we are mutually respectful people that when we collaborate, it's a beautiful collaboration.
I think that was the most important part is being like, are we on the same track with everything? With the end goal of Chica Chats, with what we want out of it, with like our mission and our statement and stuff like that. So like, whether we could talk about anything, but we know and respect those boundaries. But it was actually pretty like natural. We weren't like, hey, don't talk to me like that. Or like, I don't know, it's something like that.
Right. Ken has a background in film and I have more background in comedy in that point. I think both of those things, like being on set before, experience different talent, good and bad things about talent too. It's always something you're improving the dynamic. You have the power of controlling a space and making it feel a certain way. So when you walk into a room, how do you walk in? For us, when we do like a recording session, we're like venting, but it's with a purpose. We're aware that we have an audience and we're sharing ourselves, but we're never sharing ourselves when it's like too much exposure or it's violating, or it's always with a positive tone and intention.
Yeah, and you know what? It reminds me, right? One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, I think one of my favorite things, right, from sort of looking at the content is you're very genuine, you're very open, right? I think, like you say, you talk about everything, right? Period, sex, it could be whatever, you know what I'm saying? It could be the most serious conversations or the most fun conversations, right? But they're personal, they're like intimate, you know what I mean? And my question is like, you have a large audience, you know what I mean? And that can seem like an intimidating space, right? That can seem like a space as a creator where you want to protect yourself, right? An image, or you know what I'm saying? So like, how did you find the ability to create a safe space amongst one another, but also even knowing that, we have so many people listening to us, but we're going to make ourselves vulnerable, right? And have these conversations and not feel like, no, I'm gonna, we're not going to share that.
I think just in general, we're very open with people. I feel like we both could like find a stranger in the street and be like, here's my life story if you want to hear it.
Right.
But we have talked about those things. We have talked about like what we wouldn't really share.
Right,
I feel like if we were just on and just been like, oh, here are some stats about like, I don't know, different issues in the Latin community.
Yes.
Many people can look those up and that would be fine and that would be great. You're spreading information, but when you put into a context of like, oh no, here's what I went through or here's what my family went through, then it's kind of, it's different. It feels different.
Our audience is different too. Our audience, the way we look at our audience is not the magnitude of the audience, is like we see them as individuals and when they contribute. And I think a lot of our audience are young women, and when they reach out to us, like even during our break, we had a ton of them reach out to us about episodes and things like that. People knew people are always listening. It's more of like almost like a friendship, but I don't really know you friendship in the sense of like you mess with me, I mess with you. We're going through similar things. Right. We can like, I literally had one particular person recently was like the episode about like your problems with your mom and the pressure being like Latina. It was like so impactful. We get those all the time, but because we don't do it for the numbers, because we don't do them for the audience, it's more of a personal connection. It feels that way. It's going to continue feeling that way.
And if we do say something that maybe someone might not like, we would want them to hear it, or if it's a little too much, then we're like, well, if it's for the greater good of like sharing a story, then whatever, we'll take the consequences later. We'll figure it out.
No, exactly. Like the consequences is like, if you think about it, like oversharing as a Latina is like, oh, society's gonna judge me. Like even when
they already doing that.
Exactly. So what are we stressing about?
Right.
They're gonna do it. Let's give them something to do it for. Because like, who cares?
When you said your audience is different, right? The way you look at your audience, like a friendship. Looking at the content that you guys sort of put out, right? It can be looked at sort of through the feminist eyes, right? Through LGBTQ+. It can be looked at through the Latinx lens, right? Where you have an audience that doesn't come from those communities, right? Because not everybody does, right? How do you feel like the content becomes relatable to them, right? Like how can they relate to the content, or how do they stay behind sort of the stories that you guys are telling?
I think it really depends. Because as Ken said, we're both people that organically would have been talking to people down the street anyways. The way that, again, that we organically do everything trickles down to that. We don't really think about our non-Latin or who doesn't belong or who doesn't belong. We kind of think about we're kind of for everyone. We could be anybody's friend. We just happen to be brown women that talk about it. Yeah. And like if you look at our friend group, very similar to our audience, very diverse. But like you're just I'm one of you. We are both human. All women go through periods. All men deal with some woman in their lives dealing with periods. Like it's universal.
For sure, right.
Toxic masculinity, when we did that episode, the amount of male perspective we got from a male, understanding that and sharing our perspective, like we love that because we hope that what it created among our listeners was that conversation as well.
Yes, right.
So it's always hopeful in that, but we never think about who we're isolating right now. We're literally always thinking about we're for everyone, because we would be friends with everyone, so why would we isolate someone?
Of course.
But even now, like we're trying to get more into like male conversations, because a lot of our male friends are having conversation with us. But like, what does that mean to touch on certain things for them?
Very much like teetering on the line of like, should we want to be authentically ourselves, which is very like pro, girls doing what they want and stuff like that, and like LGBTQ and all those things, but also not so much to the point where people won't listen.
Yes, right.
And that's also when like the personal stories and all of that comes through too, because like if we weren't saying those things, then it would just be us screaming at the mic like, stop being horrible. Like I don't know. Right. But if like we put it in a perspective of like, this is what we think, and these are the examples of why we think this way.
And like, especially the Latinx community, it could be very isolating to be a feminist or using that word because you never want to, again, hate the male counterpart, but at the same time, you want to exist in your feminine energy and be proud of it and taking space in it. But how do you carry that without being like, again, negative towards it? But we'll say
getting bashed about it.
But we'll say little things like, oh, we're going through an ick phase on men. Or like, oh, we'll be like,
I'm always like, Cage Men 2021.
That's hilarious.
But I'm like, I say that, but I don't hate you guys. Like I try to explain myself, so I'm like, it's just like it's fun and games.
Yes.
And we do want to keep our identities and our priorities and highlight what we really think, but also again not bashing, not hating, not being hateful at all.
Yeah. So like my next question actually goes in with experience and less so from the Chica Chats side, right? More so as Ro and Ken. Do you feel like you had to deal with any of those social norms, or gender roles, whatever it is? And how did that play into your experience and into your adulthood to form like the mindset that you have? Because I feel like y'all are kind of on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I think like the natural balance that we have of like, and that's what keeps like our show like so entertaining as well. It's like both on the same wavelength, but we both arrive at the same wavelength differently. Ro grew up very religious. I grew up not religious at all. Ro grew up here. I was born in Mexico. I came over here. She's a darker skinned Latina. I'm like there's so many, we can get different ends of the spectrum, the point of views, but end at the same point.
Exactly.
So that's kind of also like where the relatability comes from.
I got you. Yep.
Probably people trying to say American words.
Right.
Without the R's.
We gotta switch to this. We gotta do it in Spanish, y'all.
Also, even from women, you would think other women collaborating, working together, even throughout the industry, you would see that experience and it not be cohesive. So there was like a need for us to be like this anger residual shit of like, fuck the fact that we don't fit into the social dynamics that present us as people on camera, right? Me and Ken don't look like some such shit you see on like regular programming. But we are Latino, Latinx people. And so there was that frustration of not seeing programming for us in that way. And that we were like, oh, we need to do something. We need to do something.
Like my next question for you is, bro, you touched on it. The our people, right? Brown people, women, honestly, are not at the forefront of a lot of entertainment, right? Content. It's the double whammy, if you will, right? Intersectionality, all of that, right? How, like y'all are clearly growing, right? Y'all clearly have the audience. 8.5, I think, thousand on TikTok. I'm sure you get the listens. Not that the numbers matter, right? But you know what I mean? Like, it's a slight flex. How do y'all feel that y'all have identified a sweet spot, right? Whether that's in, and what I mean by that is like, how do y'all reach that audience and start gaining that popularity in an algorithm that really doesn't seem to push out brown content? You know what I mean? Like brown and black content.
This would be interesting. Okay. So even though we don't adhere to social norms, it's because of social norms that we got the algorithm. Okay. So we popped off during Latinx Heritage Month on TikTok.
Okay.
So we did a lot of initiatives to highlight that specific month, a lot of Latinx creators.
Yes, right.
One little clip that Ken posted of her crying.
Why do I want to be this perfect person for others? And then who gets the bad parts of me? Me. I'm gonna start crying.
I made the algorithms be like, what's up, what's this?
Yeah, wow.
So find what makes you special and find how in that algorithm it doesn't exist. And trust me, you'll find your audience.
Right.
But a lot of people think like, yes, you can Google all the time, do this and that, you'll pop off. But like for a woman of color, you just don't have to. Like you really don't. We really didn't want to be too sexualized, but deal with sexuality in a healthy, safe space.
I love that. Okay.
And I think that's really made us a difference. Always creating an environment that is unique, but it's to the point that like we've gone through 3 years of trying different things that we can't do anything else but ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's I feel like right now TikTok's like that platform, right, that is doing that for people. I feel like, you've seen waves of it, Twitter or Vine, or, you go through different platforms that are kind of popping, and I feel like TikTok's the one right now where people gain the most traction the quickest. Like y'all said, now that it's focused on the numbers, I just think it's interesting because, and I mentioned this on other episodes as well. They had like that Twitch league with the top earners, right? And a lot of the top earners are gonna be white males, right? Like that's just the way it is. That's the audience. That's what they are consuming. That's the people that are, being pushed. So for me, and I think also audience, if y'all paying attention, they gave y'all a little bit of nuggets there for y'all to succeed. Being yourself, being unique, just being true, and not having to replicate other content, right? Like y'all wasn't out there doing the challenges and the dances and
we were thinking about it for a moment.
We thought about it.
Right.
We were like, how are we gonna get this? But
right.
It didn't work.
Exactly.
It didn't work. It's not gonna work if it's not genuine.
Audience, y'all heard it first here, okay? Not first. A lot of people have heard it, but now y'all heard it here. We got Chica Chats. We got Rocio and Ken. Honestly, a really fun episode. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Nah, y'all did me the favor. It was a lot of fun, I promise. Like I said, go follow, please. Go show them some love. It's an opportunity for you to learn. It's an opportunity for you to hear. An opportunity for you to relate, or just have a good time. Honestly, maybe I don't know what the next conversation is gonna be. Maybe periods. Maybe I don't know.
Who knows? Part two.
Part two.
Period part two.
It could be whatever. But it's time, okay? It's time to throw y'all into the fire. So y'all know the vibes. We gonna be right back with our little challenge. Peace out. All right, y'all. So we back, and we got Rocio and Ken on the hot seat. All right, so. I like to come up with little creative names. Y'all know how I am. So we're going to call this one the 2 peas in a pod challenge. Do you get it? They podcasted, 2 peas in a pod. They're supposed to be alike. They're supposed to know each other, right? That's the way we go. If y'all didn't think that was fly, don't say anything. If y'all did, put it in the comments below that it was a lit name, But here's how this is going to work. We have 6 questions for you because we do the minute challenge, right? So there's going to be 6 questions. You have 10 seconds to answer each one. But the questions, the way they work are, how well do you know your partner? All right?
Goddamn.
So we got some funky ones in there for y'all to answer, and we'll see which one of y'all wins. All right. First question 1. If the other chica was having their last supper or their last meal, what would they have? Go. All right, time's up. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, turn them around. Let's see. Ramen?
But specifically a veggie torta because we're dealing with a vegetarian.
You know what?
Okay.
Love that. That would be my second choice.
So,
But I did ramen for you and also ramen for me.
Oh, okay, we both have ramen too.
Wait, let me
I said torta.
What is this?
A veggie, I put a veggie.
What is this?
Oh, I was gonna put lobster. I was trying to be bougie. I was like, yeah, lobster. I'm like, but I would totally have the ramen. You know me.
They got the synergy, but Ken 1, Ro 0. What is the other's biggest pet peeve? Go. 3, 2, 1. All right, time. All right, we're gonna do the reveal. Go ahead and turn them around.
I said no communication, people being mean.
Okay,
Which is basically, yeah.
I was like rude people because Ken does not like rude people.
Yes.
And I was like loud people.
Yo, 1-1. 1-1.
All right,
let's see. Y'all got 4 more, so let's see who wins here. All right, question 3 is, what is the other chica's toxic trait? Go. 3, 2, 1. All right, we got.
No boundaries.
No boundaries.
No boundaries. And no boundaries. And we got sensitive and
I'm closed off.
Closed off. Ooh.
I feel honored then because you open up to me.
There you go. All right. But unfortunately, we didn't get the point. So we got 1-1. Each of you are 1 for 3. Question 4 is, what would be the other person's secret Wi-Fi password? 3, 2, 1. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
I'm like, big titties, take me now.
Big titties. 69 movies. Anyone?
You would do something for some reason. I'm from the heights.
Oh man. We gotta give points for movies. Big TV 69. We gotta give the points to Ken. Oh man.
Big movies 69.
Big movies 69. All right, Ken 2, row 1. Question 5 is, if the other chica's life was a telenovela, what would it be called? Go ahead. 3, 2, 1. That's it.
Okay.
Whenever y'all ready.
No me diga, no, what? Mi amor.
Mi amor.
I said passion. Okay. That's close. I said close. Yes.
La vida real.
Oh, you're right. Nobody can tell me what to do.
All right. So for the audience, by the way, La vida real, the real life. Mi amor loco, which Ken guessed for Ro is my crazy love, and then Ken's answer for herself was no me digas qué hacer. Don't tell me what to do.
I don't know how to love it, but I will make it.
It'd be very angsty.
Oh man. All right. The last question and the bonus question is, if the other person, the other chica, was a video game character, what character would they be? 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay.
All right. What do we got?
I put Princess Peaches for you.
Ooh.
Not because you're a princess, because she's so feisty.
Ooh.
And then I put Chun-Li for me because look.
Chun-Li, okay. And we got Mario.
I just kept thinking about Mario Kart for some reason.
And I'm like, Mario, Yoshi?
Like the main character though, right? So Ro's the main character. I like that.
Yoshi.
Yoshi.
I feel like we have the same vibes.
That's a super cute answer, I'm not gonna lie. Because of Mario Yoshi, y'all know, like the gamers out there, the relationship, you know? All right, so I think final score is Ken 2 and Ro 1.
Yes.
So Ro, where did work you do on this thing? I don't know.
We'll find out.
We're gonna discuss this on our podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Little relationship building. But y'all know the vibes. Look, this is the first time we had two guests challenge each other, so I'm still 1-1. I'm good. But thank y'all so much, you guys, for joining the show. Like, it was really much a pleasure to have y'all. And with that being said, y'all know the vibes. We're gonna be back with the season finale next episode. And thank y'all so much for coming through. We'll see y'all soon. Peace out.